Welcome back to another deep dive, dear listener. This time, we're going to be taking a look at AI in the UK food system.
Sounds delicious.
It does. And to really dig into this, we've looked at all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Research papers, industry reports, and even some patent data to really understand how AI is going to be impacting how we grow, transport, eat, and even dispose of food in the UK.
It really is becoming less of just a theoretical discussion and more of what's actually happening on the ground.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting about this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
We're going beyond the sci-fi fantasies and looking at what's really happening right now.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to dig in. You mentioned this global research boom. What's going on there?
Yeah, so over the past 6 years, there has been a consistent volume of research publications, over 1,200 a year.
Wow.
Except for 2020, which.
Yeah, pandemics tend to have that effect.
Exactly. It sort of shifted everyone's priorities a little bit, but it's been ramping right back up.
That's good to hear. So where does the UK fit into all this research?
Yeah.
Are they contributing to that 1,200 number?
Yeah, they are actually. They are a powerhouse when it comes to research. They're actually third globally.
Wow.
But there's a catch.
Uh-oh.
There's a gap between the research output and the actual applications in the real world.
Okay, so we have all the ingredients, but we're not making the dish.
Yes, exactly.
We just have a bunch of ingredients sitting in our pantry and we're not using them.
Yeah, particularly when compared to the U.S., who are streets ahead in terms of patents in this space.
Oh, interesting. So it's like they're cooking up all the new recipes while we're still reading cookbooks.
Exactly.
So how do we close that gap? Where do we even begin?
Yeah, so to understand where the impact's really going to be felt, we need to kind of break down the UK food system into different stages.
Okay.
So you can think of it as a journey.
I like that.
With 6 key stages: supply, production, processing, distribution, consumption, and waste.
So from farm to fork and beyond.
Exactly.
Love it. Let's start at the very beginning then. Food supply. I'm ready for AI-powered tractors and drones analyzing every inch of farmland. Is that what's happening?
It's not quite that advanced yet, but AI does have the potential to really optimize crop growth,
Okay.
predict yields, and manage resources in a much more efficient way.
So it's like giving farmers a superpower, using data and algorithms to make smarter decisions about what to plant and how to grow it.
Exactly.
But are there any downsides to this data-driven approach to farming? What about those unpredictable factors like the weather or surprise pest outbreaks? Can AI really handle those curveballs?
Yeah, that's the inherent challenge with agriculture, isn't it? You can have the most sophisticated algorithms in the world, but Mother Nature doesn't always play by the rules.
Right, she does her own thing.
Yeah.
So are there any examples in the UK right now of how AI is being used to improve food supply?
Yeah, there's actually a platform in the UK called the Agrimetrics Data Marketplace.
Interesting name. What is that exactly?
So this platform is designed to address some of those data sharing challenges.
Okay.
It aims to sort of bring together farmers and researchers and businesses to share and analyze agricultural data.
So it's like a matchmaker for data, connecting the dots between what's happening on farms and the insights needed to improve things.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here.
Mm-hmm.
So what about stage 2 food production? This is where I'm really picturing those robots working alongside farmers in the fields.
Yeah, so that's actually becoming closer to reality than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, so AI-powered robots and drones are being used to take on tasks. Like harvesting,
Wow.
picking and detecting diseases in plants.
Okay.
So there's a company called Tortuga AgTech that makes these really interesting robots.
Okay.
And they are being used at a farm called Summerberry Farm Company in the UK to actually pick fruit with incredible accuracy.
Wait a minute. Robots picking delicate fruit. I'm picturing crushed raspberries and bruised strawberries everywhere. How do they manage to pick fruit without damaging it?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, right? But they have these incredibly advanced sensors and algorithms that allow them to do it really carefully.
So no more squished berries. That's impressive. But let's be realistic. Can these robots be used for everything? I mean, can they handle something like wheat or potatoes? Or are they only good for delicate fruits?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it comes down to scalability, right? Can these specialized robots be adapted to other crops, and are they affordable for all farm sizes?
Right, because we don't want a future where only mega farms can afford to use AI. It needs to be accessible to everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, on to the next stage then. Food processing. I'm picturing AI sorting through mountains of produce, making sure everything is perfectly sized and blemish-free.
Pretty close.
AI is increasingly being used for sorting, quality control, and even developing new food products. Okay, now that's fascinating. So how does AI actually work in this stage? Is it all about those giant sorting machines I've seen in documentaries?
It's a lot of that, yes. So think about it. Each piece of fruit or vegetable needs to be scanned, analyzed, and then categorized based on things like size, shape, color, any blemishes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And AI can do that really, really quickly and very accurately.
But food is so diverse. How do these AI systems handle the sheer variety of products and packaging out there? I mean, one minute they might be sorting apples, the next it's the bag of chips. How do they keep up?
It's really about adaptability.
Okay.
So an example is Tomare Food, which is a global company that's actually got a pretty big presence in the UK.
All right.
They provide AI-powered sorting solutions for all sorts of different food types: fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, and even seafood.
Wow, that's a pretty extensive menu.
Right.
So are their machines constantly learning and evolving to keep up with the latest food trends and packaging innovations? Seems like that would be a huge challenge.
That is the key challenge: adaptability. Can these systems learn and evolve as quickly as the consumer demands are changing?
Right, because the food world is constantly changing. New products, new packaging, new trends popping up all the time. Okay, let's move on to food distribution. This is where I imagine AI optimizing delivery routes, making sure my online grocery order arrives on time and in perfect condition. Am I getting warm?
You're very warm. That's a huge part of it. AI is being used to optimize delivery routes, to predict demand, and to reduce food waste.
So when I order my groceries online from a company like Ocado, is AI working behind the scenes to get those groceries to my door as quickly and efficiently as possible?
Exactly. They use AI in what they call their smart platform
Interesting.
to personalize the customer experience.
Oh, okay. So it's remembering my past orders and suggesting things I might like. That's pretty clever and maybe a little bit creepy. Like, how well does this AI really know me?
Yeah, it raises those questions about the trade-offs between efficiency and cost and the human element of grocery shopping.
Right. Like, do I really want an algorithm dictating my entire shopping list? Sometimes I enjoy browsing the aisles and discovering new things.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued by this next stage food consumption. Is AI going to tell us what to eat now? Like, will we all be following personalized nutrition plans created by algorithms?
It's not quite that prescriptive yet.
Okay, a few.
But AI is giving us more personalized information and guidance than ever before.
So instead of a robot chef in my kitchen, it's more like having a virtual nutritionist in my pocket.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Think of things like apps that can track your calories and your macro intake, or suggest recipes based on what you like to eat, or even offer customized meal plans based on your goals.
Okay, that actually sounds really helpful, especially with so much conflicting information about nutrition out there. But are these personalized platforms only available to those who can afford it? What about accessibility for everyone?
Yeah, that is a key question, right?
Yeah.
One example is this platform called ZOE, which has been getting a lot of attention.
What is that?
So they offer really tailored plans based on things like your gut health and how your blood sugar responds to food.
That sounds really advanced.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it doesn't come cheap.
No, it's a premium service, so that raises that question of equity.
Right. Technology is great, but it needs to be accessible to everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely.
Okay, on to the final stage of our food journey.
Yeah.
Food waste. Is AI going to tell me to clean my plate? I was always told not to waste food growing up.
Well, AI isn't quite that strict yet.
Okay, good.
But it can definitely help us reduce food waste at all stages of the food system, from production to consumption.
So how does that actually work? Is it like a smart refrigerator that tells you when your food is about to expire?
That's one example. We are also seeing AI being used to sort and process waste more efficiently and even turn it into useful things like biofuel or compost.
Okay, so it's about turning what we normally consider trash into something valuable. That's pretty amazing.
There are even companies working on smart bins that can tell you how much money you're throwing away in food waste.
Wow. I'm both intrigued and terrified by that idea. It
Mm.
would be fascinating to see how much food I actually waste, but also a bit embarrassing. But is this technology just for big businesses like restaurants and supermarkets?
Yeah, a lot of the current technology is geared towards those larger businesses, but we're seeing a growing movement to adapt these innovations for smaller settings, too.
Like my overstuffed fridge.
Exactly. Smaller restaurants, even home kitchens.
That's a great idea. Less waste and maybe a little less guilt about those forgotten leftovers. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. What are your overall thoughts? Is AI really going to revolutionize the way we produce, distribute, and consume food in the UK?
I think it's clear that it is having an impact, and that impact's only going to grow in the years to come. But it's not a simple story of technology just magically solving everything. There are a lot of complex factors to consider.
Right. There are always trade-offs and challenges when you bring new technology into the mix. But overall, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the potential of AI to create a more sustainable and efficient food system, one that's better for both people and the planet.
Absolutely. There's a lot of work to be done, but the potential is there for a food system that benefits everyone, from the farmers to the consumers to the environment.
Okay, dear listener, that's it for part 1 of our deep dive into AI and the UK food system.
Next time, we're going to dig into the driving forces behind this AI revolution, and we'll also take a closer look at those challenges and roadblocks that might be slowing down progress.
Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the complex relationship between technology and food. And who knows, maybe by the end of this deep dive, you'll be inspired to try a new AI-powered recipe.
Or invest in a smart bin.
Welcome back, dear listener, to our deep dive into AI and the UK food system.
Yeah.
Last time, we took a journey through those 6 stages of the food system, from supply all the way to waste. And we saw firsthand how AI is already making a difference.
Yeah, those raspberry picking robots,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And those smart bins.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite. But today, we're going to be looking at kind of the flip side of that coin.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the drivers behind this AI adoption, but also the challenges that might be, slowing down its progress.
Exactly. Understanding both the potential and the reality of this technology.
Yeah, so let's start with those driving forces. What's fueling this whole AI revolution in the food world? Why are people so excited about it?
Well, one of the biggest drivers is sustainability.
Ah, sustainability. That's the buzzword of the century, it seems. But how does AI actually contribute to a more sustainable food system? Does it involve teaching robots to compost?
Not quite, but you're on the right track. So AI can play a role in reducing food waste, which is a huge problem globally.
Right.
It can also help us use resources more efficiently, like water and energy, and adapt to climate change, which is already impacting how we grow food.
So it's like a triple win.
Yeah.
Good for the planet, good for consumers, and good for the farmers, too.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense. Now, I know businesses are always looking for ways to improve efficiency and save money.
Yeah.
So I imagine AI fits in there somewhere.
Absolutely. So AI is all about optimizing things.
Okay.
And in the food world, that means automating tasks like harvesting or sorting, which can cut down on labor costs and speed things up.
Yeah.
Also, optimizing logistics, like predicting demand and finding the most efficient delivery routes.
So it's not just about those cool robots. It's about making the whole system smarter and faster and cheaper.
Exactly.
I like it. But you mentioned consumer insights as a driver, and that one kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Is AI reading our minds now, figuring out what we want before we even know it ourselves?
Not quite telepathy, but AI is getting pretty good at understanding our preferences.
Okay.
It can analyze tons of data
About
our behavior, from what we buy online to what we post on social media, to identify patterns and trends.
Okay, so it's like a super sleuth gathering clues about our eating habits to help those companies tailor their products and their marketing. But isn't that a little bit creepy?
It can be, yeah. It raises questions about how much influence these algorithms have over our decisions. Do we even have free will at the grocery store anymore?
It's a good question. I mean, sometimes those targeted ads feel a little too accurate.
Yeah.
Like, they know me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about the exciting side of AI, but what about the challenges? What's holding this technology back?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is job displacement.
That's a big one.
Yeah, as AI takes on more tasks, there's a worry about people losing their jobs.
Right, and it's not just about the robots taking over. It's about finding that balance between efficiency and protecting people's livelihoods.
Exactly.
So job displacement is a major hurdle. What else is slowing down the AI train?
Data privacy and security.
Data privacy again. I feel like that comes up a lot when we talk about AI.
It does, because data is the fuel for AI.
Yeah.
These systems need data to learn and function. And that data can be really sensitive stuff, from personal information to details about farming practices.
So the more we use AI, the more data we collect and the more important it becomes to protect that data.
Absolutely. We need strong security measures and clear rules about how that data can be used.
Okay, so data privacy is a big one. What else?
Another challenge is access and equity.
How so?
Well, AI can be really expensive
True.
to develop and implement,
Ah, okay.
and that can be a barrier for smaller businesses and farms.
Right, because we don't want to create a system where only the big players can afford to benefit from AI. We need to find ways to make it accessible for everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got job displacement, we've got data privacy, we've got access and equity. Anything else?
One more, transparency and accountability.
Ooh, those sound important.
They are.
And maybe a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, the way these AI systems work can be really complex and opaque. It's not always clear how they're making their decisions.
So they could be making decisions about our food supply or even our health, and we don't even fully understand how they're doing it.
Exactly, and that raises concerns about bias and errors and unintended consequences.
Right.
So we need to push for AI systems that are explainable and transparent so we can understand how they work and what data they're using.
Okay, so transparency builds trust, and trust is important when it comes to something as essential as food.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, both the good and the bad, the exciting potential of AI, and those very real challenges we need to address. But what does it all mean for the average person listening to this?
That's a great question, and one that we'll be exploring in our next segment. We'll shift our focus from the big picture to the personal and look at how AI is impacting your everyday life.
And are back for our final course in this AI food system feast.
The best part? Dessert.
Exactly. We've talked about the tech, the trends, the challenges, but now let's get personal. How is all of this AI stuff affecting me, the everyday eater?
Well, while you might not have a robot chef in your kitchen just yet, AI is already influencing what you're putting on your plate.
Okay, so how? Are we talking like personalized grocery lists that magically appear on my phone?
Not quite magic, but think about those targeted ads you see online. You know, the ones that pop up after you've been searching for recipes or browsing food blogs.
Yeah, it's like they're reading my mind. And those supermarket loyalty programs that offer me discounts on things I actually buy. That's AI too, right?
It is. AI is being used to understand your preferences and then nudge you towards certain products or brands.
So even if I'm not consciously using an AI app, it's still shaping my choices in some way. It's both impressive and a little bit unnerving. Like, how much free will do I really have at the grocery store?
That's a valid question. But remember, those personalized nutrition platforms we talked about, those are becoming increasingly popular, offering customized advice based on your individual biology.
Right. The idea that AI can tell you exactly what to eat to be healthier is pretty appealing. But isn't that just a luxury for people who can afford it?
You're right. Accessibility and affordability are key. Right now, many of those platforms are premium services, but as the technology becomes more widespread, we might see more affordable options, maybe even covered by healthcare.
That would be amazing. Everyone deserves access to personalized nutrition guidance. Okay, but even with all this tech, I still have to make my own choices, right? AI can't force me to eat my vegetables.
Exactly. It can provide information and recommendations, but ultimately you're in control.
I like that. So what else can we do as everyday consumers to navigate this whole AI food world? Are there any tips for making sure we're using it wisely?
Absolutely. First, be aware of how AI is being used. Pay attention to those targeted ads and personalized recommendations.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this helpful or is it trying to sway me in a direction I don't want to go?
Right. Like, am I really craving that chocolate cake, or is the algorithm just really good at its job?
Exactly. Second, be critical. Don't just blindly trust everything an algorithm tells you. Do your own research, consult with reliable sources, and listen to your own body. You know what you need better than any algorithm.
That's a good point.
And third, be proactive. If you're concerned about data privacy, take the time to understand those privacy policies.
Yeah?
Support companies that are transparent about how they're using your data. You have a choice.
Okay, so be aware, be critical, be proactive. I like it. It's empowering to know that I have options. But what if I'm worried about the bigger ethical implications? Like job losses or bias in algorithms, what can I do about that?
Your voice matters. Support policies that promote a fair and sustainable food system and engage in the conversation about AI's role. Let your representatives know what you think.
So it's about more than just our individual choices at the supermarket. It's about shaping the future of food on a larger scale.
Exactly. Make sure this technology is serving us, not the other way around.
Well said. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we sign off?
Stay curious. The world of AI is constantly evolving, so keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep exploring.
Absolutely. Well, dear listener, that wraps up our deep dive into AI and the UK food system. We've covered a lot.
From robots and algorithms to personalized nutrition and data privacy.
But one thing's for sure, the future of food is fascinating and full of possibilities.
It is.
So as we venture into this AI-powered world, let's remember to be informed, be engaged, and most importantly, be mindful of the choices we make. Thanks for joining us, and bon appétit.